everyone, and thank you very much for joining me. I, of course, am Rotype, and I'm back here for another episode of our Factorio tutorial series. How you doing, Mouse?
I'm doing well.
So what are you going to work on this episode?
Well, I noticed that we had some efficiency problems with the science production at the moment, so I'm going to be working on trying to get this more efficient. And I think the problem here is I'm having the gears being taken directly into the assembly machine that is producing the science, and that is causing a little bit of a backlog. So what I'm going to do is set up a crate, and then we're going to go from the crate into the assembly machine. So that's my little micro project.
Sounds good. I'm actually going to start getting kind of the traditional main bus built. And I think I may have mentioned this a few episodes ago, but this is kind of what you will usually see most people operate with, is this 4 or 2 or a number of lanes, but a bus of these kind of materials used in almost everything. The iron after it's been smelted, the copper after it's been smelted. Once we research steel, put steel on the bus so it can be used. But this is just another transport belt consuming material, transport belt consuming project for me to work on. You know, while we have, I believe there's a transport belt factory over there. Transport belt is one of the prime ingredients in green science. So if you finish your little project on red science, you might also see if there's a way to kind of spaghetti activate green science, which will let us get through the research queue a little bit quicker without having to spend the time to set up our final science area.
Okay, so it's a transport belt and an inserter to do a green science. So I will work on that as well.
Now that I'm talking about it, are there any transport belt in that box?
There is. There should be. I dismantled the production right now, but
I'm sitting here trying to produce 473 in my pocket, and that's taking too long.
okay, so I have the crate set up. And then I think just to get it going, I'm going to connect it via a belt. I think that's the most efficient way to do it. It's only going to be a short belt, but there we go. That's going to be our science production. And then the other thing that we need that we're also going to go off of is the other assembly machine, which is going to be... Oh, I'm standing in the way. You can't be standing where you need to build.
I'm just trying to, again, look at the map and lay out what I think the next area of our base should be, where we actually should start producing some of the materials that will be useful, like this belt I've been lacking so much recently. Now to do that, I do need to do a little bit of planning, because I'm going to start building assembling machines north of this bus here. So obviously, if I'm building above it, I need to know how wide it's going to be before I start building, so I leave myself space for all of these extra materials that are going to need to be on the bus a little bit later. One of the more annoying things that can happen in this game sometimes is you can not leave yourself enough space to fill in all of your materials in an efficient way, and then you're stuck kind of making things work and drawing things all out in kind of squirrely ways. So I'm going to try and alleviate that by doing my planning now and leaving myself enough space. Probably one of the best beginner tips, I think I would say, is leave yourself space. Even if you don't know exactly how much space you need, just give it a little extra space, because you never know what's going to come down the research tree, and you're going to need to fill in somewhere.
All right, so now my next challenge is I have to figure out how to get iron plate, a gear, and an electronic circuit to build an inserter. So that's what I'm going to be working on. How did you have... I'm guessing you had another inserter in here. Probably like that. So we have iron plate going this way. I don't know if that works. How did you have iron plate going over to the conveyor system? Because when I walked over here, there was no means for it to have the iron plates, but I knew there was some.
Yeah, so I just had an additional inserter. If I had one, I could do it from here, but I don't have one. Coming out of the furnace directly onto that belt. There we go. Yeah, just like that.
Oh, there we go. Maybe I had it facing the wrong direction initially. That might have been the problem. There we go.
Yeah, so I believe the way this will work, although it's not operating that way. Okay, so I understand this. I remember. The inserters will work every other unless the assembling machine doesn't need any more material. So contrary to, say, a box where it will just get filled up, the inserter will just put it, whatever it is, in the box until there's no more space in the box. The assembling machines, I'm looking at the gear one right now, you can see has one iron plate in it. And you can imagine that this would stack up, like plates stack up to 100. Why isn't the inserter stacking the input stack to 100? And that's because the assembling machine controls the inserter that is pointing in towards it. So if the assembling machine needs the material, it tells the inserter to add it. If not, it does not. Now I'm doing all this explanation, and it occurs to me that the assembly machine does need iron plate, and it's not actually commanding the inserter to get it. This is puzzling me.
I think what I'm going to do is just simplify things, and I'm going to have another furnace down here. So that
yeah, that might be best.
I think that's just going to be the easiest route for this.
Or what you could do is something like that. I mean, a second furnace, it will produce more iron that you need anyway, but you can imagine creating this kind of mini bus area with put all of the iron onto a conveyor and then have the machines pull off. But either way it works.
I missed what you did there. You said that, and I was not paying attention. What was the that? Can you do it again?
I tend to forget that you can't actually see my mouse when I'm waving it around. You could do this.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That way the gear machine gets priority because it's first, and if there's extra, it will go down to the conveyor belt. May or may not actually end up being any extra. This is one of those times where I try to avoid doing math, and sometimes it might actually be useful to actually just do the math and figure out if one furnace will even sustain that production.
I just added another furnace just to do it.
Sometimes that's the solution. Just add more.
I mean, it's kind of close to where the belts are being produced, but well. I'm going to need that anyway because I'm going to need plates to build the inserter, so that's going to work out in the end anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have this production up and running, so it's actually properly working, or maybe, I'm not sure. I think we have to wait for it to produce enough iron plates, maybe.
Oh, we uncovered our first extra resource patch. Look on the map towards the almost directly north. There's another patch. It looks like stone. Sometimes it's hard to tell. The blue and the gray look similar.
Is that up north?
That's correct.
Oh, I
We
see
don't
it.
need stone for quite a while, so. But a good example, I suppose, we talked about the radar previously. You can take a look at the map again now, and you can see the radar is working its way around, sweeping through. It looks like we have another body of No biters yet, though.
I'm not sure how satisfied I am with this iron production, so I think I may be ramping it up. But I have to figure out, we were just talking about space efficiency, how I'm going to get it there.
Yeah. Yep, I can't count how many times I've thought I had the perfect layout and everything fit in nicely. And then all of a sudden I need to add just one more little thing and it just ruins everything. I didn't leave space for it and now it's ruined.
Okay, so I'm going to do this in a very, very spaghetti fashion.
Okay, I won't look.
It will work, I think.
Sounds promising.
Oh, well, it helps if you actually put it in the power. There we go.
Well, I am almost to the point where I can add green circuits to the bus. Hopefully by the end of this episode, we'll have green circuits on the bus.
Okay, speaking of green circuits, what do we need to produce that? We need iron plates and copper cable. All right, so the next bit is going to be a little bit more challenging. I think I'm just going to grab this inserter here, and we're going to use that for the other bits that I have to do. Well, we'll leave it over here for now while I think this stuff through. So let's go through the laundry list of what I need here. All right, so what I need to produce green science is I need an inserter and a transport belt. We've got the transport belt, that's taken care of. The inserter is a little bit more tricky, so come over to the inserter. We need electric circuit, iron gear. We're already producing that, and iron plate. We're already producing that. So it's mostly the electric circuit I have to worry about. So if we look over here, iron plate, I already have that taken care of. So now I need the copper cable. Well, if we look over there, that means I need copper plate. And that is one thing that I have. It's over here, though, so we can make it work. Might be, again, more spaghetti, but that's okay. And red science is not running again. I really think that we got going on here. How do I there we go. That's what I want to do. So what I'm doing right now is I am telling the box, this is how full I want you to be. So it won't get any more full than, so I just clicked the red X here and I drew that on over. So it will only fill up these 3 slots, because right now the problem is the inserter assembly machine is just drawing too much of the resources we need. So we need this for the science, so we need that to go up, and we'll go from there. And hopefully this will start to catch up a little bit. Okay, so the next thing I need is that copper cable production. I'm going to take out this for a second. There we go.
I'll be really happy when I don't have to do this manually anymore. Stand around, wait for inserters to be built.
I gotta walk over to you because I don't have enough iron plates, and I don't want to draw it from the already backed up inventory over here.
I put a box at the end of one of the furnace columns. We don't have to hoover them. We can just pick from the box.
Oh, well, too late.
Another nice thing, facilitating long reach is if you can see the furnaces themselves and everything is backed up, then you can pick straight from the furnaces. Sometimes get into the habit of running over transport belts when you don't actually have to.
It's running on wood. That explains why I can't put any coal in it. Assembly machine number 1.
Oh, I was off by 1. This big long line I built. Let's see, who do you think's gonna win? You gonna finish your science, or am I gonna get green circuits on the bus?
I don't know. My head's hurting pretty bad over here.
You have a Factorio head. Just stand around thinking about something so much.
The only problem I see is that my already overdone gear production, I think, is going to have to get even more overdone. So I think to alleviate some stress here, I'm going to go ahead and produce some more gears.
Yeah, gears are definitely one of those things that are heavily subscribed.
Yeah, so we've got that going. Go ahead and just build myself a box for that. And at least have it continue to work. Yeah, there we go.
Oh crap.
Okay.
So off by 1 again in the other direction.
And I think the same thing over here. We don't have this really running. So I would like to remedy that. This is probably about as spaghetti as it gets. That's what you get when you put me in charge of things.
I put you in charge of the temporary items.
All right, so now we have to produce circuit, which we need what again? Iron plate and copper cable. And I think...
Suppose at this point, I don't think we've talked about it yet. Talk about what I just did to these assembling machines is the copy-paste kind of option ability, where, see, if you place down an assembling machine and it has no recipe yet, you can shift right-click on another assembling machine that you want to copy, and later you can do this with other things like circuits. We'll talk about that later, but you can see if I've shift right-clicked, this little border box now goes green, and that'll tell you that's what I'm copying, and I'm holding the shift key down. And if I left-click on this assembling machine, it then pastes that recipe, so I don't have to go through and open it up and click the recipe I want. So you'll see me doing that much more frequently because it's fewer clicks than a normal setting the recipe type method. And now we have green circuits on the bus.
Oh, I am way behind then.
way behind, drag this episode a little bit, or is that a project?
I think we'll carry this over into the next episode because I'm most of the way there, but I think it's going to take me probably, I don't know, maybe another 5 to 10 minutes.
All right. Well, we'll have that to look forward to in the next episode. Thank you everybody for watching. My name's Rotype. I'm here with Mouse Gunner, and we'll see you next time.